Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
So it just got me thinking about that. I was just thinking, stylish and stuff like that. And then the other stuff, obviously, we've got the basketball stuff, but that's what I was thinking.
What basketball stuff did you do?
Well, a bit of an NBA recap, playoffs so far, 2 games down. I liked your sports rivalries idea, so that was pretty cool. We've just went back and forth about it, maybe not in having a list, but maybe reminiscing about them.
Okay, welcome again to the Don't Be Blasé podcast. We are coming to you live from the House of Pain, otherwise known as Snap Fitness in the Adelaide CBD. I'm your host, B. Caruana, joined again by my man, Steve Burrows.
I'm back!
There we go. Before we get started, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Larry and Lad. Go see the boys at Region Arcade, get yourself an awesome coffee and listen to some pretty sweet tunes. But for now, on with the show. Now, Steve.
Yo.
Did you have a chance to listen to last week's show?
Yeah, I did actually.
I think it was streamlined. It was smooth. I think it has legs going forward. I think
a bit boring, I thought. Little lacking comedy.
Yeah.
But it was first time.
I think you're working for a job here this week, Steve. You are.
The launch chat didn't go so well. Did the launch chat go?
We didn't need launch chat. It turns out that's not as important in a segment as you thought. But
Yeah, you're making me what's the word?
Expendable.
Expendable. Yeah, right.
And not like the Expendables 2, not the good one. You're more Expendables 3.
Yeah, right. It was funny because our friend Brett, obviously a good friend of ours, he listens to it and he always tells me how much he wants to get involved on the show. He always goes, I'd love to do it. I'm not sure if I'd be any good at it. I said, well, that never stops speed. But then he said...
Bravo.
Yeah, and he goes...
He's probably your best singer at the show.
I'm so happy with that. I was going to go into the moments of 2018. That's probably going on my resume. Anyway, he always goes, I'd love to... I'm always yelling at the radio.
Yeah.
Because he listens to it in the car. He lives out Mount Barkley, so he always listens to it in the car. Anyway, and I said, you should do it with us one day. Anyway, I was listening to you last night on the way here. On the way home, and I was just listening to it. People must be looking at me like, what the fuck is this weirdo doing? Because I was pulling the funniest face of like, what? What?
What is that boy on about?
Yeah, I did. I really liked the Carlton thing. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand what you were fucking saying. I didn't have my headphones. That's another thing. I had my phone up to my ear.
I was just talking over the top of it. It didn't even make sense. It didn't even. I was trying to just throw a little bit of background noise in there. It wasn't anything special, but I just wanted people to really get into the Carlton theme song.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. I'm waiting for the lawsuit to say that we're not allowed to do that again. Yeah. But then
just throwing this out there. Every week they win, I am playing that song.
Okay.
I mean, it may only be 2 more times the rest of the year, but I'm just saying that song is going to get some regular rotation.
Yeah, and then just this is Jordan stuff. I mean, it's just I feel bad because I couldn't defend him. You know, I just felt like it was funny because
was I out of bounds with anything I said? I think I was pretty level-headed. All I'm saying is, as far as that documentary goes, I think they just need to show the good and the bad.
It's just the scumbag word thrown around a lot. I just disagree with that.
You know what's a favourite word of mine?
I know. But look, I think you're spot on. He is a brilliant player, but like any documentaries, you want to see the backstory.
You want to see the pain. You want to see
You want to see what was, because we all saw the highlights. We've all seen the games, but what made him who he is. And I love watching those old wrestling DVDs. Like even the scumbag one, Jake the Snake, was a really good one. Exactly. Piper and stuff like that.
It's the more dirty backstory. Usually the better force. Like we said it before. Like I read Wayne Carey's book, and his upbringing is rough. You know what I mean? Like and then that's what led him to be such a good footballer and stuff. And then it shows his decline after he played and when he got arrested in Miami. And it's a really interesting story.
Sure.
And that's like a great athlete with a great story, and it's a great book. Ben Cousins' book, same thing. He's going on 6-7 day crack benders and stuff, and you see his life now. It's still, it's intriguing, it's sad, but it's something that you really want to watch. Now, I was always a huge Anthony Koutafidis fan, big surprise, and I read his book and it's fucking boring as batshit. It's just like, I was a good athlete and I could have been a long jumper or played footy, and I played footy and I was good at footy, and then my dad died and I wasn't as good at footy, and then I was pretty good at footy and then I retired. Like, that's like the whole fucking book. I was like, Anthony, get by a car or something. Like, let something happen, you know what I mean? Like, go on a bender, like, knock up a prostitute, something, you know what I mean? Like, you're boring me.
Yeah.
So I need that from Mick.
I totally agree, and I'm very interested in that as well. I want to know the stuff I don't already know.
Yeah.
I want to know, the stuff.
How much money did his wife get in the settlement?
Well, yeah, I think a lot from what I understand. But yeah, it's interesting. So, no, I didn't. It was just the fact that you were saying what you were saying, and I just wanted to interject. I didn't necessarily disagree with what you were saying. I just wanted to give up. I was listening to, like I said before, I was listening to your mate Heard, Colin Coward, and Rappaport, and they were just going back and forth for 2 seconds. And Rappaport said something which made me laugh, and he said, well, "Why is it that every time someone says something bad about LeBron, oh, you're a hater, you're a hater, you're a hater." And that actually sat, and I want to ask you the same question. I said, well, whenever LeBron loses, it's everyone else's fault.
Yeah.
Whenever he wins, it's all him.
Yeah.
He had game 2, he had a big 40-point game, triple-double and stuff like that. But so it's everyone else's fault. Whenever Mick won, it's because he had a good support cast.
No.
When he lost,
Mick the credit. And when he lost, he never seemed to get that much.
He didn't lose a lot. Let's
but the thing is, when he lost to the Magic, because he came back from baseball and this and that.
That's a pretty big reason.
Yeah, I know exactly. But it's excuses are excuses. Okay. You know, just because you say that it's an acceptable excuse doesn't mean that it's any less of an excuse. You know, and so Michael still did get. Does have a lot of people go, but year 15 he was old and stuff. Well, he still chose to play.
Yeah, that's true.
He still chose to put himself out there in that arena, so he should be judged on the same merit as everybody else. You can't just have a sliding scale of judgment because you think he's the greatest player of all time.
No, but I don't think when he was in his 15th year, I was saying he was the greatest player of all time. I think, in his prime. Yeah. Anyway, another time, another story. But anyway, long story short, I thought you did well.
Thank you.
Well done. Out of 10?
Yep.
B plus.
B plus. Out of 10. That's probably one of the highest rankings we've had so far on this show.
B plus.
We're going to bring back the segment everyone was waiting for. I mean, everyone missed it last week. I'm sorry I couldn't come through with the goods, but here we come. Here's Steve's Lawn Chat.
I've missed it. I have missed it.
Yeah? Here it is, Turf Freaks. The moment you've been waiting for. It's time for Steve's Lawn Chat.
So, Steve, give us your lawn chat.
Actually, all you freaks waiting, I haven't got a lot to actually tell you.
All right, that was Steve's lawn chat. Coming back next week.
Do you remember that I was talking about the piss patch? I think it's a piss patch.
Yeah.
Well,
we're still waiting for photos.
I've got the photos right here. Actually,
okay, so that's really good on an audio medium. You going for your pocket to pull out your phone to show me. That's really helping everyone listening at home.
By the time this comes around, they will be on the website. Yeah. But
there's going to be other people pulling faces on the train like, what the fuck's he doing?
So basically, I'll put them up. But once again, Brett, I'll shout out again. He came around the other day, and we have a portico at the front of our house, which the gutters actually overhang this patch of lawn.
Oh, right.
He suggests, I don't know, seems like it could work out. He says maybe, just maybe, there's shit dripping from the gutter into the lawn. Yeah, and because if you look at it where the patch is, it actually lays directly under the portico, which is about, say, 3 or 4 meters. It's only a little patch like that.
Well, that sounds reasonable. Sounds like he's got a good idea. Brett's not as dumb as he looks. But it does seem like that might be the cause of the problem set.
Yeah, I think it might be. But I'll have you come up in a couple of weeks, and I'm gonna have that lawn primo by the time you get there.
You
man.
better.
Yeah, I'm gonna
give the people the unfiltered, undocumented truth. It's going to be me taking photos. I'm going to get there early so we get some daylight. I'm going to get some photos.
Are you come out on the scooter or something? What are you
going to do? If I wanted to come on the scooter, I'd have to leave now, and I still might be late. No, we'll come up in the car. We're going to stay up there for the weekend.
Yeah.
We're going to make it. It's going to be Steve's birthday. We're having a birthday bonanza.
Tickets, crows, Nick. Just that.
Apparently, Steve's turning 28 again.
28 again.
That was the thing I was most impressed with.
Yeah.
But you've got another topic you want to bring up.
Yeah.
Steve, hit us with your little question.
Well, the question is, I'll admit, I used to be a smoker.
Yep.
You copped that firsthand one weekend, didn't you?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a backstory of that one. Steve and I, in our wrestling days, well, I'm still a wrestler, but Steve was a promoter. Decided to run a show in Mount Gambier. Now, the feedback he got from Mount Gambier about how much promotion they'd done to help out was, say, somewhat inflated. So we wrestled in front of what? 27?
Oh, yeah.
27. There's probably almost
27,
more,
including me, maybe.
There's almost more wrestlers backstage than there were fans in the crowd.
Yeah.
And so Steve financially took a bit of a loss.
Took a hit that day.
And so I was the one that got to drive back from Mount Gambier with Steve, which is about 4.5 hour drive, in a budget rental van, which only got about 60 k's an hour on the freeway.
Remember we nearly ran out of petrol? We had to go into that
had to go to some town. So it took us about 7 hours to get back. It was almost like a drive to Melbourne. And Steve just chain smoked in the cabin. Like, it's one of those, like, obviously, the rental trucks has got a little cabin, and just as soon as he wasn't even putting out one cigarette before the next one went in there. So I think I have lung cancer from that one trip. But Steve, continue about your smoking.
Anyway, so I did smoke for a little while. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not one of them people. You see the people when 'cause you don't see many smokers around these days. Actually, I feel like I don't know many at all.
No, well, we still see plenty because being in the CBD here, people are like savages, man. That's the one thing the only thing I give smokers credit for is they don't give a fuck. They need to smoke. Like, it could be 40 degrees and hot as shit outside, or it could be bucketing down rain and the wind blowing it in sideways. They're still out there in the doorways, like getting their fix. It's like, fucking go inside, get a healthier fucking obsession.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, when I'm walking to and from work, and that's about a 10-minute walk, I don't see many smokers. But when I do, I hate the people so they're smoking, big deal, it kind of stinks or whatever. But I hate the people who are waving away like, oh god, I'm like, relax, it's cigarette smoke. 5 years ago,
it's
a bit over the top.
I don't like it in my face, but I'm not going to be the one that's going to be a little dramatic.
Oh no, they're trying to wave down like a fucking helicopter, like SOS or some shit. Like, relax, man. All right. Anyway, having said all that, I did smoke for about 10 years. And I quit in around 07, so I was about 27, 28, something like that. Anyway.
So you were 27, 28 in 07?
Yes.
Okay, just clarifying for your birthday party. Just double checking that. Thank you.
And call me out, come on. And so anyway, I smoked for about 10 years. Now, when I started smoking, it was around 96, 97. Cigarettes were very cheap back then.
Yep.
About $5 for 35 cigarettes.
Yep.
And we knew it wasn't good for us.
Yeah.
We knew it, obviously, but compared to today's standards, So my question is to you, or I guess my statement is I don't understand how children today, young people, 15 years old, 16 years old, will start smoking knowing how bad it is. It's not like you smoke weed and you get high or something. It's not like even if you do fucking hard drugs, you get wrecked. But this is a cigarette, man. Like.
Well, I've always said that. Like, I've never understood cigarette smoking. Like you just said. Like, I've always said, you smoke weed, you get high. You do drugs, you get high. You drink, you get drunk.
Yep.
You smoke cigarettes, it just kills you. There doesn't seem to be any. No one enjoyed their first cigarette.
Not the first one, probably not.
Exactly.
No.
But no one. I always say no one started smoking for any other reason than they thought it was cool. Now, everyone, when I say that, goes, "Oh, nah." I'm like, "Well, why did you do it?" They're like, "Oh, because all my friends were doing it." I'm like, you just fucking proved my point. Right, there is no one ever. And like I said, there was a cool factor to smoking. Like, you think of all the iconic images and stuff, like James Dean and stuff. It's all, smoking a cigarette and this and that. And this was like, I see, we got the start of the, guys, this actually will kill you.
Yeah.
And that was our generation, like the younger generation. Before, obviously, in the 60s, they sold it as a health product.
Lose some weight, man. Start a cigarette.
They used to have cyclists use it. They were lung vacilators or something.
Jesus,
they would promote it as it would help your lung capacity. Probably because there's burning holes in it, and so you now can take in more air. But that was the thing. But my always issue was the cost.
Right.
My dad smoked, my brother smoked, although my brother was famously for years an OP smoker, just other people's.
No, an OP smoker.
Yeah. But my dad used to spend and this is back in the day, in the 90s, 80s, 90s, he's spending the same thing, like $5-6 a packet, but he was still going through a pack a day. And I'm thinking about, obviously with translation, I was like, oh, that's still like $50 a week he's spending on smokes. Like, that's a lot of money. Now they're about $50 a packet.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
My issue with the kids smoking, it's not good for you, but where the fuck are you getting this money from?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the kid that was scraping together coins to get like a 6-pack to share with a friend. Have spare money for fucking cigarettes as well.
It's crazy. And in when we were growing up, 18, 20, whatever, you'd bring a whole pack of cigarettes to the club with you. Because you're allowed to smoke back in those days, inside the club, or anywhere pretty much. And you bring whatever left over. So you might have 50 cigarettes. And you didn't mind giving them out that night because they were relatively cheap. Now, you'd be like, motherfucker, Give me a receipt.
Hey,
Give me tax invoice.
Hey, remember when I gave you that cigarette like
I
2
didn't
weeks
need that
ago?
back.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to buy me a coffee because you really fucked me there.
That's right, because the cigarettes are worth $1 or $2 at least each now. You know, you really have to enjoy smoking.
Yeah, but I don't get where the enjoyment comes from.
Well, I mean, look, if it wasn't the health factor, I probably would still smoke. I really enjoyed that. You know, if you sat outside, remember that little unit I used to live in, and that little courtyard outside.
Yeah.
I actually used to really enjoy just going out there on my own, and it was really quiet. And you'd have a cigarette, and you'd have a coffee, and it was just a bit of a me thing. I did enjoy that cigarette.
Yeah.
Not all the cigarettes I enjoy, but that particular one I actually enjoyed.
So that's my thing though, because I've got a balcony on my apartment. You've seen my apartment. It's got my
yeah.
little balcony, and I'll sit out there. I just need the cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my sort of addiction. You know, and I might be playing like a stupid game on my phone, like a Candy Crush or a backgammon or something.
Yeah.
And I sit out there with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. That's what I understand that sometimes you just need the me time.
Yeah.
But the rest of the cigarette, like I said, the standing in the doorway when the wind's coming in.
They were hard, man.
And it's like hailing. Like that's, what enjoyment are you getting out of that, honestly?
Yeah.
The only thing is you've developed an addiction and it's just helping ease that addiction for 5 minutes.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Because as soon as you finish that cigarette, that's the process of wanting another cigarette has started.
Yeah.
However long that takes, that has started. So anyway, I just find it interesting that kids these days, 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, whoever, starting cigarette smoking now. Yeah, I find it kind of weird.
It is weird, but there's nothing worse to me. Still, like, is the doctor that smokes. You know, like you always know a doctor that smokes. It's just like, come on, mate. You're like you should know better.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on to another topic. Another thing that's irked Steve. Steve's come in with a whole bunch of old man problems today. This is great. So, Steve,
27-year-old problems.
you're tackling kids. They're kids, and they're on your lawn and they're smoking.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about your issue with clothing.
Yeah. Well, the no socks thing. What the fuck is up with that, man? Or the different socks. I mean, just wear black socks, man. Wear white tube socks or something. Look, I mean, I think I told you this, and you looked at me and went, "Yep, you're about right." It's just fashion these days.
Yeah.
Now we went out with the wife a couple of weekends.
Is this going to step into your what makes a man again?
No, but we went out and I was sort of chatting. There's my wife and half a dozen girlfriends, and I was just at the end of the table, just like watching Crows and chatting quietly with someone else. And I overheard them talking about one of the girls' t-shirts, which turned out to be over $100 t-shirt. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I was like, $100 t-shirt? Who the fuck's spent $100? All my t-shirts, they're 2 for $20 at Cotton Ons. Yeah. My whole cupboard is Cotton On clothing, man. Like, that's basically what it is. And I rank it compared to the yellowness of my t-shirts. So I buy a lot of white t-shirts. I like white t-shirts. And around the collars and the armpits, they kind of get a tinge. So basically,
by the level of you just got like stank levels. Like, there's no too much stank, you get on the left.
Exactly, and I'm like, well, I don't want to throw it out because well,
you spent $10.
Exactly, so I expect to get a certain amount of wears out of each top. So yeah, I'm thinking. So I thought about that, and then Spee on the other hand, he's always looking pretty trendy, and I was just thinking, am I that out of fashion? And I'm like,
no.
Where
I stood when I heard you tell the story, and I just thought of it straight away because I got another friend that does tackle this option. The girl that was wearing the $100 t-shirt, married?
Recently, very recently.
Very recently. So how old?
Within a couple months.
34,
maybe.
Yeah, around in the 30s, but kids.
No kids.
There you go.
No kids.
That's where the money comes from. I got friends of mine, like my mate, he's got 2 kids, my mate Luca. And like he would look at me after, I went out to this party or I bought this dinner and stuff like that. I told him I went to this place for dinner. He goes, how much for dinner? I was like, 70 a head, wasn't too much. He just stares at me like, you get to spend $70 on yourself.
Yeah, that's half my allowance.
So I think it's more so if you have the money, if you don't have kids, then you have that sort of bit more disposable income, to spend on things. Like some people like Steve, back in the day, you may have your $10 t-shirts, but how much money have you spent in your life on Jordans?
Yeah, well, exactly. Oh, yes, I certainly had a bit of a problem with that. But I feel like Al Bundy. Remember Al Bundy at the start of Married Children? You love and
you just sit there handing out cash.
And he has a wallet,
even the dog gets some.
Yeah, the dog, that's my life, man.
Well, that's what happens.
I save up for my Cotton On t-shirts.
that wasn't a TV show, mate. That was a documentary.
That was reality TV show.
But no, because I've never understood the big spending money on clothes either. Like I said, you thankfully said that I look stylish. Thank you very much, Dave. But I live almost exclusively on free stuff. And I'll wear hand-me-downs. I wear knockoff jerseys. Like, I will buy Chinese jerseys, and I will be quite proud of telling everyone I wear knockoff basketball jerseys, baseball jerseys, whatever. And I also shop at Cotton, or I'll shop discount racks, or I go on ASOS, or, like, I'll buy no-name brand stuff. Because, and this is going to sound a bit wanky, but I always had the theory of, if your body's in good enough shape, you can kind of get away with wearing whatever you want. And if you have to get a designer labeled shirt that's cut a certain way, that usually means you're probably not too good underneath it. And as Brett would always laugh at, half the time when I was younger, the shirt didn't stay on very long anyway. So it's like, why bother? I never saw the thing about buying the expensive clothes.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favourite jackets is I got this big green, like, it's almost like a big sort of dusty jacket.
Yep.
It's got a hood and stuff. It's a good sort of over-the-top jacket. Now, I bought it after Christmas sales. I tried it on. Girlfriend at times like, it's a little bed big. And I'm like, she goes, how much is it? I said, it's $150, but it's been marked down to $25. She's like, $25. You just put a jumper on underneath that. And all of a sudden, this jacket that was too big, all of a sudden, it's like, and I love this thing. Like, I wear it all the time, and I always tell everyone, like, $25. I'm not one of those people that goes, look at these. I bought them, like, I'll almost talk. If I spent $200 on a pair of shoes, how much are your shoes? $160. I feel like a dickhead if I spent, $100 on a t-shirt. I'd expect you to slap me. That's just where I stand on it. I understand the quality of blah 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 blah. And there are things that I will spend money on. Like the only thing I won't scrimp money on is food and toilet paper. Those two, I'll go first class. The rest of it, I don't care. I'm happy to wear, like hand-me-down shorts. Like the guy that owns this gym has more money than he needs. And he just has, like, T-shirts and stuff. He goes, this doesn't quite fit me anymore. Who wants it? I'm like, fuck me. Like, even though he's 6'6", it doesn't fit me. But I don't care. I'm wearing it. It's a free T-shirt. It's
funny. I got this jacket story. I went to the States in 2012, and I bought this nice leather jacket. I don't buy myself very nice. Even back then, I didn't have kids then either. I bought myself this nice black leather jacket with a hood thing. I love it.
Yeah.
But, when you have kids, you don't go out very often, so I only pull it out, once a year or twice a year. But it has been noticed by my friends. They go, pull out Old Faithful. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm not buying another jacket. No. This jacket cost me a lot. But I'm running this to the end.
It's a great jacket. That's the whole thing. Like, I don't mind. Like, I do have a nice sort of big, like, I've got a big puffy jacket, like a ski jacket that I bought when I was in Europe.
Yep. And
I have another one that's a big sort of G-Star jacket. Now, the G-Star jacket cost me $350.
Oh, wow.
But I have had that thing for going on 11 years now.
Yeah.
I think I've got my money's worth. Even though the zip doesn't quite work, the buttons still work, I still wear it. It's a good winter jacket. And I've been to Europe several times, so you need a heavy coat for over there. And this one is perfect. This one was so good that I even smuggled clothes back inside the jacket.
Oh,
when you got too much on you, like, because check baggage here, you go overseas, you go over your baggage limit. Like, Australians just go, whatever, stamp it heavy and send it through. Fuck it, no, not in Germany. No. Germany, Austria, coming back from there. They're like, no, you're only allowed to have 20 kilos. I'm like, well, I got 27. And they're like, I said, look, they just put the sticker on it. Like, Qantas put the sticker on it. And they're like, no, it has to be 20. I'm like, fuck. And they're like, and you can only have a certain amount on your carry-on. So I'm like, okay.
It's all going on my back.
So I've got it in my carry-on. And then I'm like, I'll just carry my coat through the airport. Meanwhile, I've gone around the corner. I've stuffed, like, jumpers and T-shirts into the jacket. Like,
really?
like it was...
Like wearing
it.
Yeah,
like wearing it.
Yeah.
And then just, like, tried to fold it over the other my jacket.
Did it even fold?
It's almost like it's the person in there. It's got that many clothes there. Hey, mate, I got back and I got all my clothes.
You got a surfboard under there.
I was, like, sweating like I was, like, fucking trying to smuggle drugs in, But you got to do these things, Like, you're in a jam, you got to get yourself out of it. But that's what a big jacket, like Old Faithful, you can spend money on that because it is going to last forever. That's the whole point. You buy something like that. It's going to last forever. We're not like these silly broads out there that spend $200 on a dress, wear it once, and then never wear it again. Like, guys like wearing the same thing over and over again. If we could dress I love the fact that I work at a gym that has a uniform and I have to wear the same shit every day.
Yeah.
Like, I really love that. I don't think I could ever work anywhere where I didn't have to wear the same thing every day.
It's like the old joke that, men will wear jocks until they literally are falling fucking apart.
I've been told off several times. I have like your levels of stank on your T-shirts. I have house jocks and I have going out jocks. Like, I'm not going to wear the ones with the holes outside the house. She's like, you can't wear them. They've got holes in them. I'm only wearing them to bed. Leave me alone.
Well, it's worse when like my mother-in-law's had to stay over for a few nights, and she does the washing and shit. And she's like, "What the?" You know, her hands going through one of the holes. I'm like, "Oh god, I'll do the washing, Nina. It's all right." Oh, brother.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad that we can share this with you guys. That me and Steve, we're holy jokes. We're going to move on. We're going to segue into one of our favourite things.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me your rundown, Steve, because the people have missed your opinion.
Yeah.
All 7 of them.
Yeah.
Give us your rundown of the NBA playoffs.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to touch on it last week. I just talked about the documentary stuff. I didn't want to talk about what's happened so far, but I need to get your feedback.
All right. I'll try to be really quick.
The Warriors are going to win this thing.
No, yeah. I think
4 games.
I think that's a lock. Is whoever. Yeah. Warriors will get through against the West, and then they'll just put a beating on whoever the fuck they play against.
It's pretty well. The season is over.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it was looking good, but now it's just looking inevitable.
Yeah, that's right. So I just quickly go through. I thought Cavs were going to get bounced before the conference finals, so that was my call. And Toronto just fucking flat out just shit the bed. So, but it looks like it's very interesting at the moment. Cleveland down 2-0.
Yep.
Going back to Cleveland. And, it is LeBron, and he's had some big games as playoffs. Jesus, he's had a huge playoff season. But is it going to be good enough for an all-round, decent, young, hungry team? I don't know. I'm going to say no. I think Boston will going to get through this one.
I think the Cavs will get through in 7.
Oh, so you call it? Okay, all right.
I think it's going to go...
Motherfucker, do you want to double on the burpees challenge?
No,
I've not seen no burpees yet.
No, I filmed it today, so it will go up
5
today.
whole burpees.
5 whole burpees, yeah, Steve. I know it seems like a marathon to you, mate. It's quite easy for me.
I got a stitch thinking about it.
I don't know about you, but I'm in shape. But no, I think it's going to go 7 because I think that Boston will take... I think the Cavs will take their next 2 home games.
Right.
Yeah. And I think Boston will take their next home... I think we'll go home game. I just don't see LeBron losing a game 7. And if you look at game 2 when they lost, they only started losing once LeBron copped that elbow to the face. Now, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not giving him an excuse because, if you go out there on the court, then you've marked yourself as fit. But you could see that he was the first quarter, he was fucking unconscious. 21.
That fadeaway 3-pointer.
Oh, that was ridiculous. You can tell, this is how you can tell that it was an amazing play. Steve tagged me in the thing for it. Steve messaged me and went, "Did you see that?" That's when you know something was incredible. He was so locked on. And it's one of those things. Any other player, not just because he's the greatest and he came back, but any other player in any other team, they would have left him in there for concussion protocol. It's just that they know how important he is to that game or to that team. If he doesn't go back out in that court, they're getting done by 100. That's how bad this Cavs team is. And how dysfunctional they are away from home. They always say that role players are better at home. My man JR had an absolute stinker game too. It was embarrassing. People were every time he did something wrong, people were just looking at me in the gym this is your boy.
This is your right. Yeah.
And when he shoved Horford, I even went, I can't fucking defend that. That was ridiculous. But role players play better at home, so I'm expecting them to step up because I heard a stat the other day, everyone's going on, Terry Rozier and Marcus Morris and Marcus Smart especially.
Oh, yeah.
Terry Rozier is averaging 20 points in the playoffs in Boston.
Oh, okay.
He's averaging 12 on the road. It's one of those things, it's all the players that Marcus Smart is the same thing. He's averaging 16 at home and he's averaging 8 on the road. And these are the sorts of guys that will feed off a home crowd.
Yeah.
And so they are looking really good when they play in Boston. So I'm expecting them to drop off, and then I expect it to come down to Game 7 in Boston, and I can't see the King losing there. But then I can't see the Cavs even taking one game. Last year they got the one game off the Warriors.
Yeah, that's right.
I see clean sweep this year.
Yeah. Well, I disagree. I think Boston's going to go through.
Yep.
I think LeBron will leave Cleveland and then try to join. I don't know who's the best players at the moment. Anthony Davis and I don't know who else he's going to try to join to chase some rings. But I'm calling Boston, and I think Golden State will get over Houston. I think they'll probably win in 6.
Well, that's the thing, there's not much by the way of rivalries at the moment, and they've been trying to pump up this Cavs and Warriors rivalry, but it's not really a rivalry. It's just LeBron versus the Warriors.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's the big thing. Like the first time they played each other in the finals, there was no Kyrie, there was no Kevin Love.
Yeah.
And the next time, and Draymond gets suspended, and then that's when the Cavs came back.
Yeah.
It's and then last year's was just an absolute beatdown. The Cavs got they hit like 21 threes, and they got every whistle go their way just to win
That's
one game.
right. I remember how angry I was at that game.
I was even angry at that game, and I was going for the Cavs.
That's
You know,
right.
like that's how bad that was. So I don't think there's anything really special to come out of this, but I did want to bring this up. Like,
Yeah.
what are you? Because I mean, like I said, we had the showdown last week here.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching that, and today they had a game on TV because obviously no playoffs today. It's Friday when we record this. They had a Blazers versus Lakers, like from the playoffs in 2000.
Yep.
And then they also showed the 1994 Knicks versus Pacers game. And I'm thinking, they were strong rivalries. From my childhood, I have a lot of memories of strong rivalries.
Yeah.
What are you going to rate as your best rivalries in sports?
Well, I'm going to throw the showdown up there because since day one, and because the fans are so passionate about it. You know,
I think
it
the
just
fans
feels-
almost treat it more importantly than the players do
Yeah.
these days. Yeah,
I think basketball have some fantastic rivalries over the years. Basketball, like
the Southeast Melbourne Magic and the LA 36ers.
yeah, that's right. The Melbourne Tigers and Adelaide
Sydney
were always
Kings,
good. But no, I think recently, you know, what could have been a really, really good rivalry, which did not happen because the guy left and joined the other team, was Oklahoma versus Golden State.
Yeah,
They could have had had Durant stayed with Oklahoma,
yeah,
and Warriors kept doing what they're doing.
yeah.
I reckon they could have had a really good, 5 years where they're always them in the conference finals.
How would you feel about if they'd never got rid of Harden?
Well, it's
Because
hard.
they had a choice. They
I
had a
know.
choice of Harden or Serge Ibaka. They chose Serge Ibaka, and now neither of them are the team.
But the question is would Harden be the guy he is today?
Yeah.
Because he's grown. You know, he's had the opportunity to be his own guy and grow.
I'm-
He was skillful and very
I'm
talented
going to
back
say
then.
this right now. They kept Harden instead of Ibaka. Durant stays, and they probably trade Westbrook.
Yeah. Well, they can't have Harden and Westbrook playing
Nah,
together.
you can't have them on the same team. But I reckon they would have probably kept Harden over Westbrook.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't imagine playing Westbrook. He'd be the most. Well, I don't care if he gets 10 assists a game. How can you play with that
Unsociable
dude, man?
basketball.
It is.
Anyway,
But anyway,
get
sorry,
to
go back. I think you remember that a couple of years ago they had a great series.
Yeah.
And OKC shit the bed.
Yep. Well, that
And
3-1,
They
yeah.
were up 3-1.
And if it wasn't for Klay Thompson in Game 6,
Yeah.
he hit about 7 threes.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
So, and if you remember, not long before that, they actually made the finals. They lost
Yeah.
against Miami.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma was up there.
Because that was a good little rivalry they had for a couple of years. It was Oklahoma and the Lakers.
Yeah.
That was the end of the Lakers run
Yeah.
and the start of, the new guys coming through. Like Kobe was done at that
Yeah.
stage. And but that was still fun to watch.
That was cool.
But I'm with you. The Warriors and the Thunder could have been good.
It could have been good, but
We're not talking about could have been.
Yeah, could have been. Okay, well, I think definitely a golden era of the NBA was in the 90s and
Yep.
80s. That's when I started watching basketball, so like around that 91, 92 era, and the Knicks, and obviously the Bulls were good. The Knicks, I think, were in lots of rivalries, and I mean great rivalries, because of how they went about it.
Yeah. Same way the Pistons had a lot
That's
of.
right.
Pistons didn't get along with Boston. Pistons didn't get along with the Bulls because they were just like mug people. It was
That's
great.
right. And so I was at that awesome age where I got to see New York, who were just rough as guts, take on people like the Bulls and Miami.
Oh, the Miami
And
series.
Pacers,
is great.
and that's 3 teams in the space of about 5 years.
Yeah.
They're all overlapping.
Yeah.
Because you had the same guys. You had Patrick Ewing and Mason and Oakley and Starks, who was a prick, and then you had like people like Larry Johnson join the team, who was just absolutely like a rhino. And then you had like we were talking about before, it was beefing between Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson. Just adds fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
I love it when I think you pick a side because one guy's an arsehole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like anything. It's like wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pick a side, I guess, and that's where the rivalries come from. No one gives a shit about a rivalry between, 2 good guys.
Well, it's the same way that we were discussing like what's your best rivalries and like I enjoy a rivalry between Nadal and Federer.
Yeah.
But it's just a skill contest,
Well,
like
I don't know.
there's no mind games across the net, because it's such a gentleman's sport. They're not really like there's no trash talk.
But Nadal always come across to me as the young heelish guy to me.
He was a little bit. He was the up and comer.
Yeah,
he
a
had
bit
that-
brash, a bit,
yeah, a bit slick.
Federer was,
That's the reason why I had people would like jump on me for this. I have a soft spot for Kyrgios because
Oh, really? Yeah.
purely because what's my favorite thing? Scumbag athlete.
Yeah, no, I get
And
that.
his greatest thing was against Vavinka. Like Stan Vavinka was like the number 3 or something in the world. he's beating him in a game, and he just yells across the court, "Yeah, Kokonakis, fuck your missus." You know, like,
Oh my god, man!
and then it completely took the finger out of his game, and he actually just retired hurt.
Yeah, I remember.
Like he had literally retired hurt feelings.
Yeah.
Like he walked off the court. It's like, fuck, that's what you need. You need, like, that's when you start to go, ooh, you know, like.
Kyrgios is not good enough to then now form a rivalry because
No.
he's his worst enemy.
He is his own worst enemy.
So he doesn't get to stick around and play a killer.
That's why,
killer
like,
match.
you need things like I said. You need an instigator. You know, you need sometimes. Like, that's what makes a great sports rivalry. You
That's
know? Like,
right.
You know, the Crows and Port. You know, it was, you know, they were fighting for. Like, I remember that very first showdown, and there was like fist fights on the field. You know, like it was, and the other showdowns, fights have spilled out into nightclubs and pubs and stuff around Adelaide. It's you want to see the passion on the athletes as much as, and unless it's like one of those ones where it's almost going to get physical, there's no real, you know, like a skills contest is great, but when you see, and that's the one thing about basketball, like they say with like the NFL is a very brutal sport because they're tackling each other. Yeah, but sports like footy and basketball, you are standing next to your direct opponent all game. You know, and there's no this, like, you're on that side of the field, we're on this side, you know, like a tennis court or whatever, and you're talking back and forth. Like I said, like with the NFL or like rugby and stuff, you collide with each other and then you go back again. And you collide, you know, with these ones, you are literally standing next to the guy all day and you can just break them down mentally with the chat. And that's the best bit, you know, watching people try to like mind games and that sort of stuff. That's what makes a good rivalry.
Yeah, definitely. You got me thinking about footy. Hawthorn and Geelong had a really good rivalry.
Oh, it's still going.
Yeah.
Like their game, like I said last week, their Easter Monday game, that's that rivalry still going.
That started, I reckon, 08 when Hawthorn upset them in the grand final.
Yep.
And then after that, they've had the best games.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a game, there's a couple, maybe one or two blowouts, but most of them are all under about 12 points.
So good.
Same way that the West Coast's Sydney rivalry. Two grand finals, but I think they had 7 games in a row that were decided by less than a goal. You know, and that's what you want to see.
Yeah, I've been to Anzac Day before. That was cool, Collingwood Essendon, but I've never bought into it. Yeah. I just, I mean, it was a fantastic experience, but I never bought into rivalry. I tell you, it was a really good basketball one, and it was a really good period of time. Was Sacramento Kings and Lakers.
Yeah.
They had an awesome, like the early 2000s, you know, it's one of those, like, you know how like Patrick Ewing and Barkley can say, oh, I would have won a title had there not been Jordan. I think Webber could have won a title, man. He would have.
He's one of my favourite players of all time because I was a huge Michigan fan. It's the reason why Jalen Rose is my favourite player growing up. But loved all the Michigan boys. And so I've always had because Chris Webber is he was one of those first really skilled power forwards. You know? And like he was almost like a Magic Johnson type. He could almost play point guard. His passing was that good, and he could just do everything. Rebound, score. He had the complete package, which I really like to see in a basketball player. But that team, like, you know, with Vladi, who had a reason to be angry at the Lakers because they traded him for Kobe. You know what I mean? Like, there was
Peja Stojakovic.
Yeah, there was a lot of sort of role players and stuff there, you know, and but guys that had come together, like Doug Christie was a former Lakers first round pick.
Yeah.
There was and then that's what set that rivalry. And they're both in California. Yeah. You know, in like LA, there's glitz and glamour. Sacramento's technically the capital of California, but it's known as being a little like, you know, they think the stadium was the Cow Palace. Like, it's just they had the cowbells and stuff at the games. It was great rivalry. And I know, except they are one team that can say, fuck, you know, and if it wasn't for such and such, I would have a title.
As good as it was, I never felt it was a really great rivalry because I guess because they were East versus West. I think rivalries in basketball happen within the conference.
Yeah.
So Saki and LA, obviously, New York and Chicago, Miami, Chicago. So I wouldn't say the Bulls in Utah really had a really good rivalry. I think
they just happened to be.
I think that was it, really.
Yeah. But where you put Lakers and Celtics?
Well, because they ran a whole decade, though.
Yeah.
So, you know, Bulls and Utah were in two
finals. Well, they ran
finals.
a couple. That's the thing. They ran, like, most of their titles that the Celtics won, you know, the Bill Russell era, was against Laker teams.
Right. Well, there you go.
So, and then...
But it was like 8 teams or something back then.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't make a difference. But, you know, like you said, through I think every finals in the 80s involved either Lakers or the Celtics.
Really? Okay, because Detroit... Oh, Detroit... Yeah, they would have, because Detroit beat...
Portland in 90.
Oh, it was at 90.
So 89, they beat the Lakers. 88, Lakers beat Pistons.
Yeah.
I think 87, Lakers beat Pistons. And then before then,
There's
it
a
was
couple Bostons.
86 Boston beat Lakers. Beat Houston.
Okay, yeah.
And then, because that was the big one. That was the one where Ralph Sampson hit that shot over his head to
Yeah.
send Houston to the finals. And there was a couple, Boston beat Houston twice in the 80s.
Right.
Lakers beat the 76ers once.
Okay.
And then, so that was it.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So that's why I
Yeah.
guess that rivalry occurred. I mean, obviously I was a little bit too young, but I love looking back at it in
Yeah.
reflection. I think it's killer. So do you want to do a...
We haven't done a top three for a while.
Yeah.
We haven't done a list for a while. So we'll finish on this. Give me your list of your top 3 sports rivalries. Doesn't have to be in order, but just ones that
I'm
you
going to say Showdown. I love
Showdown
the
number
Showdown.
one?
Yeah. I think that's awesome.
Yep.
Couple honourables. I like the soccer. I like Liverpool versus United.
Yep.
That always gets me up and about. And United and Arsenal had a really good rivalry in the early 2000s when Arsenal were really good.
Arsenal were the best.
And
that
that
was
was
one of
awesome
my
to
favourite
watch.
teams of all time.
Yeah, they got really feisty, man. And I remember this one game Van Nistelrooy misses his penalty, and everyone just ran up to him and give it to him in his face, and it was just it's chaos. I love that shit. So, I've got to anything with
other
the
than the
Knicks.
Socceroos topic. Are we soccer topic? Are we say the Socceroos versus good soccer? That's a bit of a rivalry. they don't ever want to play good soccer. They will fight. No, winning
Socceroos
easily.
within themselves,
they love to play
funny.
really hard opponents. Which is usually themselves.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's very true. I'm having a hard time putting 3 in there, but yeah, I really enjoyed watching Agassi and Sampras play tennis.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put that in there. I mean, it wasn't a heated one, and that's what your skills challenge.
Yeah.
But they were very opposite. Agassi was a bit of a rock star, especially in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
His long hair and shit like that.
He wore denim shorts.
Exactly, he was nailing models and shit. So that was always cool. Anything with the Knicks in the 90s, man, I just loved the. Obviously I was going for the Bulls, but that rivalry was real.
Yeah.
Because, it happened over years.
Oh,
It
yeah.
actually happened over years. From the time when they just saw, they snuck up, what the fuck? The Knicks are going to compete with the Bulls, and they went 7, what the fuck? All the way through to when they actually finally did beat the Bulls, when Jordan was on his,
Suspension.
I pause let you say that. So it went for years, and then once that happened, then Knicks was always fighting for their second spot, and they had to fight against the young Miami team, and then
The Pacers. That's why, okay, so I'll go with mine. Or is that going to be
I think Knicks, man.
Knicks versus the 90s.
Knicks
Yeah.
versus the 90s. They had a great rivalry with a lot of things. There's so many I could put in there, but they're the things that come to the top of my head.
Well, they said, I'm going to chuck the Knicks in there too.
Yeah.
I think that's one reason why I've always backed them. They were always that underdog team, and it was when, like we were saying, when Michael was out, and it was that window of shit. Yeah, we've got to win it this year because we might not get another chance. And like I said, Jordan kept a lot of people out of the finals. Same way LeBron's kept the East out of the finals. A team like Toronto should, by all rights, have been in one finals by now, but they never will because they're scared of LeBron.
Which they are.
Oh, they are, yeah. That Knicks team, that rivalry with, the rivalry with the Bulls annoys me because they lost them. So I didn't like those ones, but the rivalry with the Pacers was incredible. Just purely for that, Reggie Miller versus, and that's why that's my favorite ESPN 30 for 30, the winning time, the Reggie Miller versus the Knicks. It's just both teams were very similar. They had their big scorer, which was Ewing on one side, Miller on the other. You had the two tough guys like Mason and Oakley versus the Davises. Antonio and Dale Davis. It was just they were very similar teams. And then you add the extra factor of Mark Jackson, who was the Knicks point guard, and then now he's in Indiana, and he's a talker. He's got that New York attitude, and there's always looked like it was about to kick off. And it was always back and forth contests, and Spike Lee got involved, and that whole rivalry was great.
Yeah,
that was really exciting. But like you said, the Knicks and the Heat was also a great rivalry. Watching because I always saw that it's that young line, old line with Ewing and Mourning, because Mourning had followed in his footsteps.
That's right.
Played at Georgetown,
that's right.
Been the dominant center. Come into the league, blocking shots. And playing the East, because the East was always a more physical style. So I'm gonna put your Knicks in the 90s in my top 3. Number 2, I'm going to go completely out of left field, which is ironic because it's a baseball one.
Yep.
I'm going to go Yankees Red Sox. I'm not a huge, like I said, I'm a San Francisco Giants fan. I could probably choose Giants Dodgers, but I haven't really watched enough of them really going at it. It does seem like a skills contest rivalry. It's more of a bragging rights one, both California teams. But the Red Sox-Yankees one is heated.
I don't even like baseball, and I'll watch that.
Yeah, you just know no matter who the players are, no matter what era, what generation is, you will watch a Yankees-Red Sox game. Because, I mean, even the first game they played against each other this year, within 4 innings, someone got plunked and there was a fight. It's just,
that's cool.
It's just one of those things. Like, you just know, like, you kind of glued in because you know it's at any moment something great might happen, which is what the whole thing of baseball is. It's sort of like cricket. It's an anticipation sport. You think about what might happen. And when you're watching one of those games, like those two against each other, you know if it's in New York, and the Boston players are going to get booed like hugely, or if it's in Boston, and they're probably going to yell racial insults at the players on the Yankees because, let's be honest, Boston fans are scumbags. Yeah. So it's just that always has that excitement to it. So that's why I'll always watch one of those games. And the last one is Lakers Celtics for me.
Yeah, okay.
Like Showdown gets an honourable mention for me. Adelaide United versus Melbourne victory.
Yeah, that's right.
Is a very
that's
strong
a
one. I was at a game with the huge, almost like a half riot broke out after the game. It was a finals game. Melbourne won. They had to police escort of the 15,000 fans, maybe 1,000 of them were Melbourne fans, and they had to get a police escort from Hindmarsh Stadium all the way through to the city. Like they walked them all the way in. People from both, we were outside, and obviously being young and full of piss and vinegar, we're yelling insults back and forth at each other, and it was like 40 degrees that night too. So probably not the best time to play a game of soccer because everyone's drunk and it's hot as shit.
Lots of yellow pit stains on those white t-shirts.
Well, at this stage, the shirt was off.
Of course it
was. Yeah, because it was Friday night and I was drunk. And to which I got the worst heckle of all time.
Oh, let's hear it.
So, like, this guy's throwing something at me and I'm, like, going to pick up something and throw it back and we're yelling at each other and this and that. And then some guy goes, "Oi, why don't you work out some more?" It's like, that is the fucking dumbest fuck. Why don't you work out some... Okay.
Was there like a screech and everyone stopped?
Even the Melbourne Victory fans just kicked this fucking guy out of here. Turned on their own head. It was terrible. But, as much as, like I said, I've been to a lot of heated games between the Victory and United, but it's not on a big enough scale.
No.
So the Lakers-Celtics for me is going to be it because that's like one of those classic ones. And it got a rekindling, like I said, about 10 years ago. The fucking Paul Pierce and the fucking wheelchair bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but, and then the Meadowell piece hitting all the threes in Game 7. So that's going to be it for me. That's
cool.
going to be my third one. So that's a good, solid list.
Yeah,
we'll get you guys. I know we've forgotten a whole ton, and if you guys want to send anything through, please feel free. Like, obviously, we didn't discuss, Hawthorn, Essendon, and that line in the sand game, which is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It's just like, we're losing this game. Let's just start punching on. But yeah, if you guys have got anything to add in, any sports we may have missed, like hockey, whatever, whatever you guys are into, let us know. Because I think this is one of those ones that can really open up the floodgates. And we're just going off the top of the dome here, and we may have missed some good ones. So send them through, guys. But that's going to be us for this week. For Speed Caruana saying goodbye. For Steve Burrows,
see you later.
We'll speak to you next week. Peace.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.